This is the Authority Partners podcast.
Welcome to the Authority Partners podcast. Today, my guest is an extraordinary hiring professional. Hannah Kochan-Bibic is a talent acquisition specialist at Authority Partners. She holds 5 years of experience in matching talents with companies gained through different corporate structures. Hannah is a psychologist, and soon she will be a licensed cognitive behavioral therapist. For the last 2 years, her main goal is to engage senior experts as well as young talents with Authority Partners Global IT community, while applying her knowledge on how the human mind operates. Wow, that's amazing. Hannah, hello. Welcome to the studio. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Asya, and thank you for this kind introduction, really, and hello to everybody.
Recently, one of our podcasts was about how to ace a job interview at Authority Partners. So today we will remain in the hiring zone and talk about culture fit. In a private life, the click from day one with the company is highly important because it can greatly affect one's happiness and overall job satisfaction. One could wonder, why is that so? Well, having a working community where people are culturally fitting is important both to the business and individual because it facilitates satisfaction, growth, productiveness, and success. The history of cultural fit goes back far as the 1980s. The original idea behind the fit was that if companies hired individuals whose personalities and values, not just their skills, matched with an organization's strategy, they would feel more attached to their jobs and be more productive. During this podcast, we will talk about AP culture, we'll define it, go through how we assess cultural fit while being careful on potential risks and mistakes, and of course share some advice for anyone who is included in the hiring process in AP. So Hannah, let's be straightforward. What is culture fit?
Thank you, Asya, for asking that because it's very important to define it. Majority of people in business world have at least heard about cultural fit at some point, but what it actually means can be sometimes misunderstood or overlooked. Some people think it's related to how well you can get along with colleagues at your workplace and enjoy your time spent together. Some would even say, I can't imagine myself going for after-work coffee with this person and claim that they are not a cultural fit. That's a personal fit. Being a cultural fit means that your core values and beliefs are in alignment with the core values and vision of your company and environment. If you have ever worked with someone who was completely different from you and your typical friends, and yet really enjoyed working together while on a project, that would mean that you and that colleague were a good cultural fit.
Yeah, right, exactly. While this sounds fairly straightforward, there are complexities that come with the idea of cultural fit. So why it is important?
Well, it's very important because if you are a culture fit, you will be able to thrive in that environment. You get to exercise your private core values at work, which can greatly contribute to leading a happy and fulfilled life. Culture fit is very related to your personal needs and success. When you share values with your teammates and with colleagues in cross-functional teams, your individual goals will be more synchronized, and that way you will be more successful as a professionals and as a team. And in this way, at Authority Partners, 400 and more individuals with different backgrounds and knowledge and lifestyles, they think together and aim to create a technological solution that is large, complex, and excellently done. So not only that they have great results, they're more satisfied with their work life overall.
And what does AP look for in a consultant?
Well, it's not any specific trait or attribute because it's virtually impossible, and based on what we mentioned earlier, it would be even counterproductive if you would look for 400 plus identical people on board. We're not looking for a specific trait or people with same experiences or lifestyles. What we do look for is a shared mindset. We look for people who share the same approach to work, same level of commitment and dedication, no matter their characteristics. characteristics. Of course, it will be easier for someone who is extroverted to deal directly with a very talkative client. But we at Authority Partners are aware that an introvert with strong commitment, achievement orientation, and good preparation can be as successful, even more so if you would compare them with an extrovert who lacks dedication or commitment to work.
What would be really interesting, I guess, for listeners, absolutely for listeners and for myself as well, how would you describe an AP consultant?
An AP consultant is someone who is aligned with the Authority Partners' core values. So I would start with describing AP consultant as a person who is devoted to excellence. Being excellent means more than being just great at what you do. It is a bar that you move up with each triumph, never settling for mediocrity and being respectful of failure. These people are learning from both their mistakes and their victories, which is ensuring personal improvement with each challenge they encounter. So naturally, they will be more open to new experience and not afraid of them. Additionally, I would say that these people are resourceful and have strong integrity. They approach challenges in a calm manner. They are able to rise above the situation and emotions quickly by finding their balance. Also, they're curious and they have this inner need to learn and research and grow, which is making them comfortable with sharing knowledge as well as asking for help and guidance. Even more, sharing their knowledge and building strong IT community makes them happy because what they do has great impact on society on many levels, from educational to economic. They see the big picture and they understand how they can contribute to the best possible result, getting better as a whole each time they tackle anything together. All these descriptions that I mentioned reflect core values that are shared with Authority Partners, and those are excellence, growth and development, stability, and social responsibility.
Well, it seems that this person lacks only superpowers, doesn't it? Should someone feel bad if they feel they're not there yet?
It does sound perfect, I know, nicely noted, Asya. But bear in mind that all people that currently work at Authority Partners at some point either demonstrated these behaviors or showed great potential for it. This is just a representative of what you can become. Because if you are sharing the same core values with us, here you can get the experience, the tools, and the how-tos which can help you grow as a person and a professional. No need for feeling bad. And to be honest, all of us are on this same path, trying to be the best possible version of ourselves, learning with new experiences, seizing opportunities, and building our skills and expertise with each day. The most important thing is that you need to enjoy that ride.
Well, can someone be a fit at one point and then stop being in another?
Interesting remark. Well, that's the thing with the core values of a person. It's the most stable aspect of one's personality. It's very difficult to change even if you try it on purpose. Of course, as you go through life, you will realize that some of your beliefs and values have changed over time. Something that was important to you at some point is not so important to you now. But core value is something that is with you for the longest time. Those are the principles on which you go through life, and because of that it's quite stable throughout time. Just try to imagine someone who has integrity embedded as their core value and they have been living majority of their life by this principle. Something huge must have happened to them for them to stop valuing integrity as a life guide. So I would say it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely for someone who was once assessed as a person devoted to excellence, growth, and development to start loving half-done, messy, and outdated solutions.
Yeah, I get your point. It's rather like people sometimes just need a little break and then they will come back even stronger to the work they love. So
Yes,
that's pretty much.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely, because this is the thing that they have inside themselves, and there could be some external factor that can move them a little bit from this direction. But core values is something that is with you all the
it sticks
time.
with us.
Yes, it sticks, and at
Hmm.
least you will be bothered with something that is outside of it.
Right. And how do you know if someone has what it takes? Can you describe the process for any interested candidates, because I'm sure they're listening.
Thank you, Asia, because this is very kind of you, because not all people approach selection process with the same ease. Knowing the steps up front can relieve candidates' anxiety and make them more relaxed during the selection process. So let's say that a candidate applied for a job or was approached by talent acquisition for a position. Our first step would be to have an interview with talent acquisition. During this interview, we're talking about you, about your experiences, and we're getting to know you a little bit better. After we finish that first step, there is a possibility of a technical challenge or a business case that can help us get more insight in candidates' practical knowledge. After we get the scores and candidates' results from both steps are then being reviewed. If we conclude that you are a match, we proceed with the process and include hiring manager, who then reviews all the information and hopefully proceeds with the hiring manager interview or technical interview. This part is designed to assess your technical expertise. Cultural fit, though, can be assessed during the whole process. In some cases, we include even assessment centers, which have a detailed process on their own created to examine your behavior in given situations. So, if your results satisfy expectations for a given opportunity in all of these steps, then you go into hiring, onboarding, and administration process.
I'm sure that our listeners are interested in what kind of questions a candidate could be asked when you're assessing cultural fit.
Well, some of those are secrets, but I will try to give you as many information as I can, of course. During our interviews, a candidate can be asked about what would be your instinctive reaction in a given situation. This situation can be imagined or it can be related to your real life and experience. Or we can even present a problem to you and ask for your opinion on solving it. Also, as we defined 4 pillars of our culture, we follow with the interview questions that address each of them, but in a subtle manner. We wouldn't like to spoil with the details as we need to safeguard that process, but the thing is, and maybe my main advice to the candidate is that if you want to show who you really are and you are not interested in false representation, the best answers regarding cultural fit can come if you are just following your gut feeling.
That's interesting. I was researching on this really interesting topic for a while, and I found on online a couple of tools where you can do assessment on your own. Should candidates do assessment too? Do you have any final advice for them?
Yes, of course, they need to do it. I would say it's mandatory. We encourage our candidates to ask us any kind of questions they might have that they need to know in order to understand our culture and our direction even better. As we are looking for our match, we understand it's important that candidates do evaluation of their own. They can get to know us during the selection process, of course, but outside of it too, if they're just checking us out and wanting to know more. Maybe someone will be interested in knowing about the technologies that we have been using or level of complexity of our projects or what are our goals for the long run, our education plans. We welcome all these questions as they are giving us even more chances to learn about the candidate. And of course, it's important that they do that because they also need to see if we are a fit for them. Because if a candidate doesn't do that and doesn't know enough about us, they can be unhappy.
Hannah, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm sure potential and future candidates got a clear picture on AP culture and concept of the cultural fit.
I hope so. And if anyone has any kind of detailed questions for us, feel free to reach out to talent acquisition. And I would like Asia to use this opportunity to let all the candidates, potential candidates at Authority Partners to know that we are always on a lookout for talent which can thrive in our community. So anyone who has the skill and shares with us the idea of how things should be done, I encourage you to reach out to talent acquisition. We can meet, we can talk, and we can explore how we can join our forces.
Perfect. That's a really great message to everybody who is listening our podcast. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
listening to the Authority Partner podcast. Find more episodes via authoritypartners.com or join and follow us at our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Thank you for listening to Authority Partners podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode.